Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to show you how to locate and pre-install shop furnace hookups. So what I'm doing here is going back and forth to the various pages in the installation instructions, getting information like this. This is my unit right here, and I'm double checking all that on the unit itself and then marking that on my notepad. And once I have everything located in one place right here, I'm going to start cutting tin, routing propane lines, running the electric, all that stuff. So what I have so far is the exact location of the flue on the back of the unit. Now I need to transfer that to this area right here. I put in this special blocking here, and for the life of me, I can't remember if that little hash mark, you can see I got a little hash mark right here. I can't remember if that's supposed to be where the flue is or not. But once I get that figured out, then I'll transfer a line over to there. What I'll do is measure from here to that line and do the same thing over there. Then I got to come downwards and figure out where this flue is going to come through the wall. I got to put this stuff up there. Once I figure out where it's going to go through the wall, through the tin here, I have to measure the slope. It's got to have a downward slope to the unit, and that'll give me the height of the unit down from the ceiling. It sounds a little complicated, but I'll explain it as we go. I did the very same thing with a mini split in our addition. I put a chase built into the wall a couple years ago, and a couple weeks ago I installed the unit, and all I had to do was drill a little hole in the wall, and there was a chase going through there. I could just stuff all the stuff right through the wall. In this case, the entire hole is going to be in place, and once I get the ceiling in, I can mount the furnace and then run the line right through the hole. Whereas this will be on the outside, and these two will be on the inside, and those two will be connected by a piece of tin right here. This will be the outer jacket of that. All right, we'll figure all that stuff out later. Right now, let's figure out where this flue is coming in from the post right there, and then from there, we'll get a location where that goes through the wall. All right, I have everything mocked up here. The spacing on the mounts up there is 22 inches. And let me try to get this tape measure for you. That will look like this on the unit itself, but it's not going to sit like this. This is going to be cut in half, and these will go on the ceiling, and they'll actually go on like this, and then we'll be using these to come down to the unit. And show you that real quick. It will look like this with the flat part outwards, and it'll be attached just like that. Then the other members will attach to this lower part with the double holes in it. So with the bracket in the correct location, that gives us 1.5 inches from the outside of the bracket to the outside of the unit, just like this. So from the bracket up there, it would be the 6 inches minus the 1.5 inches, or 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches from the outside of that wood member there to the hash mark. All right, so 4.5 inches is to right here. That one is incorrect. That one was at 3 3/4. Now we'll get this measurement It is 9 3/4 from the bottom of the truss here. So we'll have to remove 1.5 inches from that. And our flue's gonna go out down here. So let's get that marked over there. I lost my head mount camera, but this dimension is gonna be 8 1/4, which is right here. So now that I have my 8 1/4 marked, I have to figure out the height. I gotta go below this girt here so that I don't hit this girt right here, but I need to attach that pass-through flashing to both of these. So I might have to add a little bit of wood to the bottom of this. We'll see. Let's get some dimensions here. All right, now it's time to check the height of this unit with the bracket in place. We have, a little more, 15 3/8, and we would want at least 2 inches in addition to that. So we'll call the minimum height 18 inches. So I got to measure down from the bottom of the truss there 18 inches, and then try to figure out if I can go above the girt or if I have to go below it. Okay, things are coming back to me now. 18 inches means I'm going to have to go below this girt because 18 inches comes to right here somewhere. That's not a problem. The problem is that this 8 1/4 dimension isn't going to work. I have the raised parts of the tin siding. They're right here and right here, and centered on that we come to 8 7/8. So I got to go over 5/8, which is no problem at all because of these real nice long slots. The brackets still got to go wherever they got to go, but the entire furnace is going to move over by 5/8 of an inch, which I have plenty of room for on this. It's actually going to move that way, so all that's good. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to get this pass-through flashing attached to that wall, and I got to get this one attached to the outer wall. Show you this real quick. This is going to go right like that on the outside, and it has to be dead center, and I'm just going to clip the tiniest little bit off of each side. I believe it's like 1/8 of an inch, and then this thing is going to fit perfect, but it has to be dead center. So we'll just move everything over by 5/8 of an inch. All right, now for the wall thimble. On this particular one right here, we have a 2-inch outside space all the way around, and then we have a little bit more than 4 1/4 inch hole in there. On this one, we have about 1 7/8 inches. Same here. There's 2 1/4 and 2 3/16. None of that really matters. What we're going to do is take the center dimension on this one and then figure out how much this is going to go. What is it? 1 1/4 inches. This is going to go onto the girt 1 1/4 inches. So we'll measure down to the center of this, then use a level and transfer that line to the outside wall. Then we have to go up about 3/16. This wall at this area is a little over 8 inches thick, and the pipe wants to pitch at 1/4 inch per foot. So what we need to do is have the outside one 2/3 of 1/4 of an inch, which is right under 3/16 higher than the inside one. Hope that makes sense, but we'll show you exactly what we're doing in just a minute. All right, I'll show you my math here. I have 8 3/8 for the thimble, so the center of that is going to be 4 3/16, which I have written right here. We have the 1¼ flange here, so you have to subtract the 1¼ from the 4 3/16, which gives you 2 15/16. So what I did was mark a 1x3 with the 2 15/16, clamp it to this board. Now, if I take a level and go across to the outside, I can get the exact level spot on the outside. Then I just need to go up 3/16 of an inch and measure over that 8 7/8, and I'll have the exact center of where the flue goes out through the building. Okay, this right here is the center of the outside thimble, and then I transferred this line across, and then I went up to 3/16 and then over to 8 7/8, and that is the center of the outside thimble. So what I want to do is to roughly center this outside thimble on this, and then draw the outline on the house wrap. I need to cut that house wrap and then redo this, get a hole drilled, and then I'll tape the house wrap with duct tape, with actual duct tape. Let me show you that real quick. This stuff here, it's aluminum and it's made for sealing ducts. So let's get that done and get the hole drilled, and then I believe I might be at a standstill. I don't know if I have the correct stainless steel rivets or stainless steel self-tapping screws for this. I'll go check on that, but I can get that hole cut right away. All right, I got that all cut out, and we're going to go look at that in a second, but I just wanted to point out that that original hash mark that I had on that joist up there was in the exact correct position. I just forgot how I was doing this because it's been nearly a year. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do next, I went and got my horizontal line, then measured up for the pitch, and then I got dead center on the center of this because that's where it's got to be. So that's where I got to drill my hole. And once I do that, I'm going to take this. This has a little hole in it as well. I'm going to put a nail through that hole and run the nail through that and hang this in place and trace it onto here. That way I can figure out where the outside edge of it is, and that'll give me the location for the rivets on this. I don't want the rivets exposed on the outside, so the rivets will be behind the rubber on this. They'll be like right here, 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 and there. All right, a final double check before I drill the hole, just to make sure that that looks a little higher than center, and it certainly does. Everything looks good to go. All right, let's drill that hole. Now, taking a compass and drawing the size of the hole that's going to pass through the wall. All right, let me show you what I got here. Got a good amount of lines. This outer line is the outside edge of the boot. The next line inside from that is the inside of the boot. The boot's going to go on the outside like this, and it's going to get cut out for the pipe. So this is where the boot is going to meet the wall, and it's going to be caulked in with high temperature caulk. Between this line, the cutout line, and this line, that represents this flange inside here. So what I'm going to do is set my compass between the hole here and this line right here. That will hit inside of here, and it's not going to show outside of the boot, so it'll be completely hidden from the outside. I'm going to go outside and draw a circle where that line is, and then I'll draw another circle where the cutout is. I'm going to drill a hole from out there right where that rivet goes. I'm going to put a rivet through it, and I have it marked on the front of here. Kind of hard to see, but it's right there. I'm going to drill a hole in that as well, and then I'll rivet this into place just like this. Then from the outside, I'm going to drill, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 more rivet holes and get this riveted really nice and tight to the outside. I'm going to do that after this hole is cut though. Then, once that's all done, this is going to go on the outside just like this. I have to trim just a little bit off of each one of these edges so that it fits in between these valleys here. Trim that, and then this will get screwed to the outside with self-tapping stainless steel screws all the way around, and it's going to be caulked with high temperature caulk as well. This is high temperature silicone, and you just cut it for whatever diameter pipe you're using. I believe my diameter is right here. So then the pipe will just slide right through this boot to the outside. So when I'm done with this, this will be here. The outside edges will be taped up with that aluminum tape. There'll be a hole to the outside to the boot. I probably won't cut the boot yet until I'm ready to put the pipe through it. And then we'll have another one of these right here. There's going to be a small gap between the two, and I'll be sealing that. I was going to use a section of pipe, but I can seal that gap with aluminum tape. I just have to put on 4 or 5 layers, and that should be just fine. Once both of these thimbles are in here and my boot's on the outside, like I said, there's going to be that little gap. I'll tape that up. Then I'll wrap the entire thing with a ceramic blanket and insulate right up to it. So that stuff's all figured out. Now I just got to figure out how I'm going to do the electrical, and most important, I have to figure out where I'm going to run the propane to so I can finish running this propane line. Okay, what I did here was measure 4 feet over from the finished face of the wall. That's going to be tin up there right on the face of those girts. So I measured 4 feet from the girt out to here, and then figured out the dimension from the joist over to that mark and transferred it over there. Then I clamped that piece of wood there, got it plumb, screwed it in place. Now I need to get a level line from that hole over onto this board, and then from there I can figure out how high the unit's going to be, and once I know that, I'll know where I can put my propane line and my electric line. I could use my big Stabila plate level on this, but it's pretty heavy, so what I think I'll do is just use this aluminum straight edge and put a 4-foot level on top of it, get right in the middle there, and that should do it just fine. Okay, let me show you what I got here. This line right here is level across to the hole in the side of the building. This is 1.25 inches down. The distance between the back of the unit and the outside of the building there is 4.5 feet. We want it to drop 1/4 inch per foot or more, so I'm going just a little bit more and going 1.25 inches down. So this is where the center of the flue is going to be. This is where the top of the unit's going to be, and that distance is about 13 inches down from the ceiling. So how I'm going to run the propane, you might not be able to see it, but the propane's over there. It's going to go across that joist over there, and it's going to have a T, and then it's going to run right along this truss here with flex pipe, which is going to curl out and come right to this area here somewhere. What I'll do is strap a nipple to this joist here and the nipple will come up a little bit over the top, and we'll connect the line to that, and it'll come a little bit below the bottom. And once the sealing's in place, we'll put a union on that. That gets a bunch of different fittings. It gets a valve, it gets a drip leg, and some other stuff. And then it's going to have its outlet facing towards the wall here, and then it'll have flex pipe going in a U shape and connecting to the unit like that. So what I'm going to do is get that flex and bend it and see about where it wants to come to, and I'll just use that distance. I'll also get the nipple. I don't need the rest of the stuff. I just need the nipple itself and a few brackets to hold it onto here. Then I can run all the rest of the propane lines. I've been debating how to do the electrical. I'm going to have a box right over there, and I can run a wire right from the box up into here, across, and have it ready to go right here. But that's not going to go in for a while. So what I actually think I'm going to do is run some Romex from over there and get it to a point right in here somewhere. Once this section of the ceiling goes in, I'll screw a box to the underside of the ceiling and run the Romex into the box. Then from the box to the unit, I'll just have a loop of BX. I have to run to town for those rivets and screws, so I'm not going to be able to finish this until then. But I thought I would show you some of the other stuff here. That is the T. This is the line I'm going to be running, ProFlex. So from where the test unit is right now, there's a little nipple on there. That nipple's going to come off, and we'll put one of these on there. So we'll have this ProFlex going from there to the big T. The big T is going to be right in here somewhere, and one line's going to go across for the furnace, and the other line is going to go right on top of this joist here, and it's going to come through the wall right here, and it's going to be plugged off right there with this. And I believe this just takes a 1-inch cap, but I'll have to look into that. It'll be plugged off, and at a later date, I will probably put a heater in that side as well, just to work on stuff in the winter, and for the most part, that area will be unheated. All right, so I'm at a standstill for today, so I'll get back with you in a couple days after I go to town, and at that time, we'll get that hole cut in the wall, get the back part of the thimble in place, and get the boot in place.